how are children affected by all this? Let's take a look at Charlotte, a young girl whose father was recently drafted.
Dear Father, Mother's let me stay up late in order to write this. All we had was this new thing called Spam and glazed turnips. We didn't have any meat, but that's okay. Mother said it's important. It's something called rationing. Robert and I don't get it. Anyway, we miss you. We're so glad you're being brave and fighting those German bastards. Another one of Mother's expressions. There's so many things that I don't understand right now. When will you be home? What do you do exactly? Do you ever get lonely? But I have to go now. Mother says it's getting late. I can tell she's been crying. Good night. Love, Charlotte.
One million Canadian families were affected by drafting.
Leonard Burchill, Canadian Air Force officer, 1942.
David Curry, Canadian Army officer, Battle of the Reichswald.
Guy Simmons. Fred Cedarberg, Canadian Air Force officer, the Battle of Britain.
Hugh McKay, Canadian Army officer.
Andrew McNaughton, Canadian Army commander.
John Meldrum led the Battle of Scheldt.
Rick Thomas, Canadian Air Force officer, led the Battle of Scheldt.
Joseph Jean-Claude Menard led the liberation of Paris.
John Rockingham, Canadian Air Force officer, led troops during the Battle of Falaise.
Chris Phipps, Canadian Army officer, led the Canadian forces in Battle of Normandy.
Walter Nanzik, Canadian Army officer.
Harry Erickson, Canadian Army officer who led the troops in the Battle of Rhineland.
William Anchovis Griesbach, led the Canadian forces during the Battle of Waterloo.
Aubrey Cosens led the battle during the Battle of the Hodge.
Bruce Matthews led the Battle of
Rick Chisholm, Canadian Army officer, led the Battle of Schwarzwald.
Harry Creer led the Battle of the Rhineland in Britain.
It took nearly 3 minutes to name 20 Canadian soldiers. It would take over 5 hours to name every Canadian soldier who passed away during World War II. The one thing they all had in common is that
They were
all drafted.